You take the glass of red steaming liquid and begin to down it. Explosion point, burn up. Next time, don't drink anything labeled Dragon's Breath. Howdy, and welcome to another episode of Let's Make an RPG Game. Well, the last game we were working on is pretty much done. I just kind of finished it up and decided not to worry about recording so I could submit the game. So what we're doing today is we're going to work on a brand new one. And this is kind of a passion project of mine. It is a game sort of based on the old RPG game from my youth called So You Want to Be a Hero, otherwise known as Hero's Quest. Or Quest for Glory 1. So, and which kind of spawned off of me trying to make a Final Fantasy 1 type game, and I couldn't get the party creation scene to actually work the way I wanted it to, so I opted for this one, and it kind of morphed into this one. So what you see before you is the character creation scene that I've created. It's rudimentary, but as I move on and keep working on it, this will change a bit to look a little bit better. But I'll point out a few things here. Of course, we've got each of these weapons represents the three type of characters you can be: a fighter, a thief, or a magic user. And the code goes like this, which is simple. All we're doing is really just changing the class of the player each time. Alright, and I created Garden View, which is the starting town. And I got a few things I'm going to point out here. Of course, this tells you, basically you talk to the guard tells you to check the board for anything. And then you've got the sheriff's house here, we've got a fruit cellar here, a general goods store here, a magic user here, a bar here. These two I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet, but for the sake of this video, everything is the way I want it, because I'm going to show you a couple things. And we're going to do the sheriff's house here, and of course you talk to the sheriff, and you get all this code, which gives us this little thing here, this /P1 in brackets, actually can correspond to this name input command. So that way, when you put in your name, the sheriff will then say welcome, and whatever name you put in will say your name. Alright, and show you a few things in the bar. Now, like I said, I'm a fan of the old RPGs of my youth. So one of them is called, like I said, is Quest for Glory 1. And in there's in the bar there's something called Dragon's Breath. So I tried to create it the best I can. I couldn't find anything that resembles like a smoking dragon's head. So I just kind of used I'll zoom in a bit here. I just kind of used a furnace and put a smoke thing there and there. And of course you got the actual dragon's breath. And I'll show you what that does. Whereas the general goods store has a couple things to sell and a mysterious tarot deck, which comes in handy later on in the game. Magic shop has a few things. This causes the magic seller Minerva to actually appear. Here she is, and I decided to create spell scrolls instead of trying to use a plugin to create a spell shop, which is easy enough as it is, but I'm trying to make this less plugin heavy, because sometimes you have to go through and remove plugins that you really don't want to move just to get this to fit to be a browser playable. So there's that. We come here, we've got a thief here. Basically tells you that was a battle, and then you find out that the main villain is onto you, which is a bandit king. And we've got here, now there's another scene in one of my other favorite death scenes in the original game, is a giant purple blob with a mustache. And the way that scene works is you attack it, the blob flies into the air, and the object is that you're supposed to step back, so when the blob falls down, it falls down and turns into a million different pieces and runs away. But if you forget to fall back and just wait, you look up and the blob falls down and squishes you. Well, I couldn't figure out how to do that, so I created something similar but different. I gave you the cat folk. So, it tells you you've come across a cute little cat folk. You have options to attack it or leave it alone. If you attack it, you get slashed at. The screen fades out. You hear the game over music, which is the actual game over music for the original game. I found it. I like that music. And it tells you, she lunges at, I gotta change that, but she lunges at you, swipes at your neck, thus opening a gushing wound. She licks her claws as she watches you quickly bleed to death. And then it says, next time, just leave it alone. If you leave it alone, then you get a whole nother bit of stuff. She smiles back at you. She sees you and smiles back at you. Then she asks you if you have a tarot deck. You'll see, this is where if you chose to get the tarot deck from the general goods seller, you could do that. You could do this. However, if you have the tarot deck, you lose the tarot deck, you give it to her, and you gain 100 gold. However, if you don't, she realizes you've lied to her. You then have a battle. If you win, you find out she already had a tarot deck, and you get a tarot deck anyway. If you don't have one and you tell her you don't have one, she says, oh, if you happen to get one, I'll pay you for it. And that's it so far for that. So we're going to quickly work on something here. And then we'll probably play test a couple of the death scenes to show you how they play out. So I want to create another scene from the original game. And this one is where you approach an ogre and or a giant, and the giant tells you fight the giant, and the giant won't let you pass. But if you try to fight the giant kills you. But if you throw a rock at the giant, you hit the giant, and the giant gets knocked out cold, and you can pass. I mean, you could find all these if you look on YouTube. You could find people who actually recorded every death scene from the original game. Alright, so I'm going to go over to here. Yes, the title of the game was called Hero Wanted. And I could do it by cheap way. Which, if I were going to do that, I'd probably go to here. Cape entrance, road to Cape. This is where you'd find the ogre finally blocking the stairs. I mean, the giant blocking the stairs to get to the Cape. I'm going to do that. Or we could create it. For this video, we're just going to just cheat it. So we'll just drop that. Because I'm more interested in actually creating the event. So, we need to create a giant. Now, I could search around for sprites of giants and stuff, but we're just going to do something simple. I'm not going to use that. We're just going to quick list it. I'm making this as simple as possible. And we'll just use, or should we use an evil character? Let's use this one. Okay, there's our monster that we're going to have to fight. Now let's code him. So we're going to have it say, you have come across a giant, across an evil knight. We don't have a giant. We'll give it some choices. I'm going to say, throw a rock at it. Throw a rock at him. You say throw a rock. Fight. Or fight. Let's leave it at that. So, what we'll do next is we'll put it second page and go self-switch A. Then we'll say, you found a rock and you hurl it at the head knight's head. It hits dead center, and he falls. Is knocked out. Okay. There's that. Then what we'll do is we'll put, so you can see them, so fade out quick. We'll do, we'll switch A, and voila. And if you fight him, we'll have this, I would say, there you go. Massive sword. Swings it. And what we'll do is we'll have animation player. That. And we'll see. Dead perfect. Perfect. And kills you. Go here, go to musical interlude, go to this one, and then we'll have the game insult you again. Next time, don't try to fight someone bigger than you. So what I'll do is I'll sit there and I'll go here, and we'll go to fade out, and we'll say game over. Okay. And there we have that. So now I like to make sure test it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to say skip the start screen. We're going to drop in the player. Characters there. And I will show you in a sec what playtest looks like. If I can find it. Don't want that. This is what happens when it crashes on playtest. It does that once in a while to me. Okay, let's see if I can do this again. Let me try another way. There we go. Alright, let's see how this plays out. So let's see, first, we throw a rock. From the rock, you hurl it at the knight's head. It hits dead center and he's knocked out. Gone. Okay. Review again because I have it set up to that. Now let's see how happens if you fight him. Come across the knight and you fight. You approach the knight, he brings out his massive sword and swings it. He hits you dead perfect and kills you. I got spelling errors, but that tells you next time don't fight anything someone bigger than you. And it goes right to game over screen. So let's get back to here. First things first, let's fix our little spelling error here. This happens when I speed type here. There we go. Now I'm going to show you some of the other death scenes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the player right about here. And we're going to play out some of the death scenes for you. So. Okay, now that, no idea what that means. It's weird. This thing spits out error messages like you wouldn't believe, so hold on to your horses. Okay, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Don't ask me why. Today it does not want to work. There it is. Alright, here we go. Alright, so everything's up on the third level of the town. So we'll start here, the fruit cellar. You have two options after you look over the fresh fruit and veggies. You could either buy an apple or steal something. Here's what happens when you steal something. Wasn't it worth stealing something? Next time, just buy it instead. Okay? Now, there's two things here for death scenes. So the first we're going to do is called my version of Dragon's Breath. I'm going to rename it eventually, but for the sake of this, by Dragon's Breath. Trog, which is the one guy with the white hair sitting next to you on one side. He says, "Ha!" Goes over, grabs it, gives it to you. You take the glass of red steaming liquid and begin to down it. Point, burn up. Next time, don't drink anything labeled Dragon's Breath. Alright, and then the second way to die in the bar, I may add more, but this one I had to require to make a variable to make it work. So you buy a grog once. You buy a grog second. You buy a grog a third time. Scene fades out. It's now nighttime. You see a thief. Give me all your gold. You can give me gold, which I haven't quite figured out. I haven't quite worked that out yet. But you fight him. He throws a dagger at you. Next time, maybe you should just have paid him. Game over. I'm going to show you one last thing. It's not a death scene, but I'm kind of proud of it. I'm actually proud of all that I just showed you. But in the magic shop, you enter, it's empty until you approach the counter, and then Minerva shows up. And of course, welcome to Minerva's Magic Shop, and then of course, you buy the scroll. You get fire, blind, thunder, and ice. And the scrolls then, teach you the different spells. So again, thanks for watching this episode of Let's Make an RPG Maker. I'm going to call this one Season 5, Episode 1, because I'm assuming Season 4 was what I was just working on, so therefore, yeah, so Season 5, Episode 1 of Let's Make an RPG Maker, titled Hero Wanted. So, again, thanks for watching. Remember, road is where the stories are. Stay good, do good to the world. Peace out, stay frosty, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.